So, all right, it's live now. So it is.
Yeah, let's good. All right, you're live.
100%.
All right.
That's kind of just been kind of busy.
Everybody,
No, well, I mean, a whole time scrutiny artist, so.
all right, check.
They're off right now, they're all off, so it's time.
We checked it. They're fine.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, she actually checked it.
Oh, shoot. All right. Okay. You good?
I don't think he's.
You got a nice slide shot.
Good job. If you're good, we're good. Oh, like this? Like this? Like this? You gotta get a take the joint without me in the joint?
This is the bread and butter that you're eating.
Oh, bro. Get back up, wasn't that easy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's something earlier.
You got
The same thing.
It's like.
Yeah. Okay. How's everyone doing? Can you all hear me just fine?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right, come out of there a little bit. If
Yeah,
I
you got
talk
a little
this way, I come out of there.
I can hit the little corner right here, and then yeah.
Right here, out. We're good. You can have it.
We don't need mine.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. This is the Loading Snacks Being Comfortable Being a Geek panel here at Ocean City Comic Con. Give it up for yourselves for coming. I go by Gage. I used to say my name is Gage, but because it's not on my birth certificate, I go by Gage. Jokes, wave to the people. I'm gonna skip y'all two for a second. Sin, wave it to the people.
What's up, everybody?
Okay, now if you guys ever watch our content, very rarely do you see this gentleman here. That's usually because he's doing what he's doing there. Okay, wave to the people. See, there we go. Doing video stuff and stuff like that. Before I introduce the two guests that we have, what I want to do is just kind of briefly explain what this panel is about. Because I assume you all are geeks like we are, and that's probably why you're here. But we know it's not always easy for people to feel comfortable, and for us, those of us who are part of the Loading Snacks group anyway, we'll find out from these two fine folks where they sit. It's been a bit of a journey getting to a place where we are comfortable being who we are, doing what we do, the way we like to do it, wherever we go, no matter what. And so this panel is a panel we do at multiple conventions. And one of the things that we really like to do when we do this panel is bring other people on who have not been on the panel so we can hear that same conversation from other people and hear what it was like for them kind of getting where they are, if they are or not. comfortable. So, again, before I introduce you, anybody in the room has social anxiety? Thank you for being social and raising your hand and letting us know. Okay, we won't pick on you, but I do want you to know that this is about everybody in the room. So there are going to be times when we're going to ask you all things like that. It might just be raise your hand, but if there's something that you want to talk about or things you have to say, we'll get there. You are in a safe place. That is the most important thing. You are in a safe place. So, to do this with us today, I brought a good friend of mine. This is Jose Jaro.
How's it going?
He's mute. And next to Jose is Jess, but Ghostiee Muffin Cosplay.
Hello.
Jose, tell the folks what it is that you do, what you're working on. Don't tell them how long we've known each other yet.
I go by Joe. I like to call me Joe. I am a professional comic book artist. I'm currently working on Buffy the Last Vampire series for Boom, which just came out this week. So please pick it up.
That's him.
That's him.
Yes. He'll be back at his table with things to sign and say when this is over.
Fortunately, I didn't get my comps, so I don't have my copies here, so which kind of sucks, but I'm here though.
There's other stuff. Ghostie, does everybody just call you Ghostie?
You know, I get it a lot. Ghostie or Muffin. It's
Okay.
Ghostie Muffin, so whichever one comes out first, I'll probably turn around to respond.
I dig it. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hey guys, I'm Ghostiee. I've been cosplaying for 8 or 9 years now, guesting at conventions, despite a year of COVID, for about 4, making good friends with folks like these guys over here.
Mm-hmm. Hanging out.
And hanging out,
Okay.
chilling, walking the Oakland streets.
Straight
now
up.
it's Ocean City streets.
Straight up.
Like,
Ocean City streets.
yeah,
I have a question, Ghostie.
let's hear it.
Why are you Ghostie Muffin?
I get this one a lot, and it's not a fun story at all.
Okay.
So my sisters, it's really just because I used to go by Muffin and my sister used to go by Ghostiee,
Okay.
and then we needed to share a Minecraft account, and so we spliced them, and then I just smashed it.
I like it. You stole your sister's name.
I still have it.
Wow. Okay.
But now I gotta rebrand because my name's too long. If you go on Instagram, it's the finest print that you can see because it takes up too much space.
So how will you do that?
Gee, I haven't even gotten to that point yet.
We're gonna need to vote. I think we're gonna
Yeah.
have to help.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out. Okay. I know about these guys' journeys and we're gonna get there. Here's what I wanna know. First, do the two of you consider yourselves geeks?
Definitely.
Are you comfortable?
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Have you always been comfortable?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you? You?
No, it's a journey.
Yeah?
Not for everybody. I mean, if you're Joe, you're just automatically cool. Which is nice. Congratulations.
Doesn't work
For
like
some
that for
guys,
everyone.
it takes a little bit to get comfortable.
How long would you say you've been comfortable?
Let's go with 4 years because I think it takes a lot of confidence to guess at everything.
Sure.
If I wasn't comfortable, I wouldn't be doing that.
Okay. I think that. What helped you make the transition from not being comfortable to being comfortable?
I would say that it's the community. You come to this convention and you've got a lot of like-minded geeks.
Yeah.
I know you don't like the word nerds, but like-minded nerds
Sure.
and everything like that. You guys make friends and everything like that. So just being around a bunch of friendly people, it can bring you out of your shell.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify. I don't dislike the word nerd. I just don't think I personally fit into that category. But we're going to discuss that because I think one of the important distinctions is making the distinction between a nerd and a geek. Right? I don't think that they're exactly the same thing. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be both. But I don't necessarily think that they're exactly the same thing. But since we're on the subject, Joe, what do you think the difference is between a nerd and a geek?
A nerd, I guess, would be, whether it be a lot of things or be one specific thing that you just know everything about.
Okay.
A geek, you just like the culture. You might not know everything.
Yeah.
But you like the culture enough to be in it.
I dig it.
But a nerd is like I mean, I like to call myself a nerd on some
Okay.
things, but yeah, you can't get a little too far.
Do you all think that there's a discernible difference between a nerd and a geek? You do. Somebody tell me what they think the difference is. Who's comfortable enough to say it? What do you think it is? Nobody. All right. Sin, help them. Help them.
I think that the difference between the two is a nerd is more book smart, sciencey, that type of thing, and a geek is more so you're passionate about a specific thing, whether it's Marvel or whether it's anime or something like that. Cars, for instance, you're just a geek about that specific thing. You know a lot about that specific subject.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Joe, do you think the same thing?
100%. I think the nerd is, like you said, always in the past. I feel like nerd had that bad connotation to it. That it was like, oh, you're this person that wears the pocket protector. You got the tape on the glasses. Like I think that was how it used to be way back when.
Sure.
With geek, and I like an example that you can always use was like, say if you're like the history buff and you're really good with history, you're a history geek. Same thing, if you're a sports geek, you probably could tell me like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant stats from like their high school days that like, why do you really even know this?
Why do you know that?
I think that's kind of where that difference comes into play at.
I would agree 100%.
I'm totally opposite.
You think it's the other way
I'm not part
around?
of the culture, I'm sorry.
No, I mean you think it's the other way around. Like, so well, okay. Some of this I think would probably be age-based, right? But I think growing up for us, there were movies like Revenge of the Nerds, which specifically targeted people that were like what you said, like the glasses, the pocket protector, the vest, the like you just weren't cool. Like you're again socially inept. Like I think that term was geared towards people who fit that description. Like Peter Parker, nerd. Textbook nerd. Like down to, you know what I mean? Like no sports, no whatever, just books. Like he's the guy you go to do my homework, Parker. You know what I mean? Like that's, you know what I mean? I think that fit more of that, at least growing up for me, that's kind of what I looked at, right? And I think that geeks tend to be, like you said, more of someone who is, they don't call geeks this, but like, you can be an aficionado of something, right? Like you can be an aficionado of something. I love double alliteration. So like Sin would be our anime aficionado, right? You guys are talking it too. But like, I think, and again, I think you can be both though. And I think in a lot of cases, we are both. I think there are circumstances under which we might be considered either one. And I don't think there has to be a complete separation between the two, but I think it's easier to get comfortable being a geek than it would be to get comfortable being a nerd if you fall into that stereotype, that connotation, right? So I personally have always loved the same stuff I love right now. Been a Spider-Man guy since before I can remember. That's not gonna change, and I don't care who knows. That's not how everybody is though, right? So for those of you who have jobs, if you're here, do your coworkers know you're here?
Yeah.
Yours do. Who said no? No. You're like, no.
This is my secret.
Now, is that because you wouldn't want them to know? Is it because you think they'd look at you differently? Or are you gatekeeping? You don't want your coworkers in your work.
I don't know. I can't really gauge like whether they would like be cool with it or whether they'd be like, oh, that's weird. Like,
Right. Well, that makes sense to me though, right? Because that is part of one of the things that makes us uncomfortable, right? Is not being able to gauge whether or not other people are gonna be okay with it, right? And things have changed so much now that so much of this stuff is mainstream, right? That like you can walk into a Target, a Walmart, wherever you want, and you can find shirts that are anime, you can find shirts that are Marvel, that are DC, Game of Thrones is everywhere, right? And so some of that feeling alone is a little lessened. And you can wear a shirt to work or a hat down the street and somebody goes, and you're like, yep, you're one of my people, right? And you don't feel quite so alone like you can maybe when you're at work. You know what I mean? Like you might get along with them fine, but you don't know. So how do you start that conversation with somebody at work, right? Because like, what if there's somebody at your job who would love to be here, but you didn't tell them? Right? Like, now it's on you. What if they just don't know? What if they're hiding it from you, like you're hiding it from them? You know what I mean? So this is about trying to find ways to be that comfortable. Be yourself in that way so that you don't have to worry about stuff like that. There are always going to be people who don't like what you like. So, anybody here like sports? There's like 2 of you. It's not a sports convention. However, how many of you have had arguments with other people about your favorite team versus theirs? Right? Who likes anime? Anybody got a favorite? Is it hard for you to choose? Do you have friends who like one that's different from what you like? Do you fight about it? You know what I'm saying? Joe, are you a Marvel guy or a DC guy? Straight up Marvel. Ghostie?
I got it, Joe.
Sin?
Marvel.
Same way.
We're Marvel people up here. We don't dislike DC.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Listen, listen.
All time is DC.
I like to apologize.
That's true. That's true.
That's because it was
Right?
the best 70s show.
Well, that's true too. That's true too, because the Wonder Woman show was a little bit better than Bill Bixby as the whole. But just a tad. That's a great show. So here's the thing. I'm not sure if you all know this, but there's a bit of an age gap between some of us here on the panel.
Well, I don't know. This
Get it out there. Get it out there.
Here's the thing. I think when I was growing up, it was a little more difficult to be comfortable because, and this probably still happens, like you get to a certain age, maybe middle school or something like that, where people start telling you, you gotta give that up. You know what I mean?
Real quick.
Yeah.
So, just going back to your question, was I comfortable, I guess, for how long? Yeah, I did say that I've always been comfortable. Let me put a caveat to that. So, I think I've always, I love Saturday morning cartoons. I love comic books, and I've always been fine with that for myself. I grew up with a Filipino family. So I don't know if you guys know Filipinos are Asian family. My brother was a Marine.
Yep.
He's in the computers. My sister's an accountant. She was valedictorian in our high school.
Yep.
My other sister, I don't know what Manny does.
I don't know what she does. But whatever she does, it's working. Like it's working.
And me, the youngest, I moved here when I was 7. Me, the black sheep of the family, just liked to draw. Draw. That's all I did. And that's what made me happy. So I was happy about myself, but not that, and I don't even know if you saw the post my mom put. But anyway, so the pressure, and I'm sure it happens to more than just Filipino family.
Sure.
Filipino family, that pressure of, I don't know how I didn't become a nurse, so there has to be a nurse in the Filipino family.
Your mom was a
My
nurse.
mom's a nurse.
Yeah.
So I kind of went, the other way. Into their, I don't know how I got away with it, but I went to art school.
Yeah.
But there was a point even after art school that I kind of gave up. I did give up.
Yeah.
I was an office manager. I did retail for a little while. My mom's always, oh, get that job, get that, so you have benefits, yada, yada, yada. And a few years ago is when I was like, no, I've had it. I'm doing art 100% professionally.
Yeah.
And up until even last week, where I was saying my mom posted, because I had a great day, like not too long ago, and things come my way, like project-wise, I just did Buffy. She wrote, oh, even though I discouraged you, I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, I'm always been happy about myself, but the outside pressure,
Yeah.
totally.
It makes you feel like you can't be who you really want to be.
And for a minute there, I didn't know.
Yep. That's a very real thing. Super real thing. Did any of the rest of you feel any of that same kind of pressure?
For my family, no.
No. For you?
Same here. Because my parents, they were very much into certain things. Like, mom and dad were huge with Star Wars. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it started for me. It was like old school VHS. It's like, hey, you want to sit down, you want to watch these. Like, you're going to know, like, some of the stuff that we watched in our time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think with it starting there and having that support system that was in place because they enjoyed those type of things, I never really had to worry about it.
Is there anybody in here who was born before 2000?
Yeah.
And what about after? You too? Okay. It's very different now. Ghostie.
Yeah.
You cosplay, but you work.
Geek,
You have a job, right?
yeah, I do art, yeah.
Okay. I know that are you still in school?
I graduated from
It
really nothing special.
Yeah, it's very much so special.
So here's the thing. What'd you study?
Oh, it's actually just
That's okay. That's okay.
It's a starter though. I'm going back.
What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to go back into real estate because that sounds more fun to me.
Real estate.
Yeah,
I
I've
dig
always
it.
enjoyed like exploring different properties and everything like that. Sales is interesting.
Has there ever been pressure for you that you felt to do? Is this realm?
Yeah, so I do think I can kind of compare this to your mom. My mom's my biggest fan. She's an angel. I owe everything I have to her. But there's always been that hey, it's time to get a real job.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And I do feel like that I'm young enough to still pick a path. Once you pick a path, you don't have to stay on it. You can jump around and everything like that.
Sure.
But it's always been a balance of keeping that day job, school, and then finding time to do this on the weekends.
Yeah.
And everything like that. It's gotta keep your eggs spread in all those baskets. So
No
it can be difficult to find a balance sometimes.
I think it. Anybody here who's currently uncomfortable? You are.
Put your feet up. It helps. It's more comfortable.
Can we talk about it? Are you you want to tell us why you're uncomfortable? No, there's too many things. There's a lot of things. Okay. Let me start by saying, knowing you're uncomfortable and knowing what things make you uncomfortable are the only ways to figure out how to get comfortable, right? You take those things on one at a time, and you figure out how to get comfortable. Even if it starts with coming to a place like this, where you know that there are other people who are in your realm, who love what you love, right? And who like what you like, and there's a level of understanding that comes with that. Anybody in here, were you ever bullied? Like the entire room? The whole room? Okay. Were you bullied by family? Okay. Is that older siblings? Okay.
Get into it.
Younger siblings? Younger siblings. Cousins? Okay. So, for those of you who were bullied, was it elementary school? Yes, elementary school. Middle school? Middle school was worse, because we're starting to be jerks and feel our adolescence. Got it. High school? High school was worse. Okay. Do any of you still feel bullied now? You do. Okay. Are you still in school? Are they school bullies? So there, some of you still feel bullied now. In college. Is it directed at you based on, like, are you outwardly, I'm an anime person, and do you feel like it's that? Is it something else that you feel like people?
It all depends on like context too. So for instance, like where you go to school or like the setting of your college.
Yeah.
You know, so the kind of peers you're with, you know, where they grew up, what kind of like baggage they have.
Sure.
So it's a lot of like projection, like they see you doing your own thing and like they think like, oh, they're like really confident and so they not like I can get away with like, you know, S wording on them.
Yeah.
So the dynamic changes once you leave grade school and become like 18 and over, and like the bullying becomes different. It takes a different like grown up form, and that you can like take in the workplace too.
Yeah.
So anything that goes against the grain, anything that's deviant or different, it takes a lot of heart to be yourself. And to like put yourself out there to be like.
Sure. Sure. For those of you who are here and are uncomfortable, when you're home and you're by yourself, are you uncomfortable with who you are by yourself? Or are you uncomfortable in spaces that include other people? By yourself? Other people. Other people. Okay. But everybody's pretty good at home. Yeah? So much. We know who we are, what we like, what we do, and we can do what we want and be confined in our own space. Were you bullied?
I wasn't. Reason why, for the most part, I was the bigger kid.
Okay.
So I think that played a lot into it. The fact that everyone, from elementary school to middle school, I was always taller. Like I played basketball. I kind of, and that's a story. I kind of teetered the line on both sides.
Yeah.
But I feel like because I was always that bigger kid, no one ever really came to me like that. I'm sure there was probably people behind my back that were saying, "Oh, look that kid over there playing Pokemon on the Game Boy or something like that." I'm sure that did it, but no one would say it to my face because of the fact I was bigger than them.
I saw it to
It's different.
I do.
You're a different beast.
Very different. Very different. Ghostiee, were you bullied?
I've been fortunate that it wasn't that bad, but I would say that I was part of the high school demographic that got bullied.
Yeah.
Since
What was it, do you think, that stood out that made people feel?
So, my weakness, definitely, okay, so I went to a high school in Timbuktu, which was nicknamed Cornfield High. So alternative interests like anime and nerd culture were highly suppressed. We had driving tractors the whole day, actually pretty cool. Every Friday, be there, 6 sharp, you know. So having
That's a real thing?
Yeah, I promise.
Okay.
I'm not gonna release my half of but we'll talk about it after everything. I'll show you the anime pics. So alternative interests were kind of suppressed and everything.
Yeah.
You know, it can be hard to come out about your interests when you feel like nobody's willing to listen and everything like that. Like you talked about hiding it from your coworkers. We definitely had some sleepers, but Anime Club had 5 people in it.
That was it.
5.
Is that one of the things that you think there were other people who probably would have liked to be in anime club but just couldn't commit because they didn't want to be bullied?
Absolutely. Because I was one of them, and I never tried it. It
Oh,
could have had 6 people.
You were hiding it.
Yeah. And I only came out of cosplay after.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, were you ever bullied?
I wouldn't say.
Well, hold on. Because we went to school together. Were you ever bullied for things other than being Asian? Because I saw that.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I had if you think of bullying, like it's a constant thing, when you just hate going to school. I never had that, but sure, instances here and there.
Yeah. A couple of moments.
Yeah.
Sin?
I mean, mean, people would try to test the waters every now and again when they catch me reading an X-Men comic book or reading Nintendo Power or something like that. But then it would always flip and come back around when we're talking about the new Snoop Dogg single that came out. And I'd go line for line, word for word the whole time.
Right.
I mean, so it was always weird. Like, it's cool now, but just because you don't like the thing I like now, you want to act funny kind of way. Like, so much of it.
So some of it was because people who were picking on you because you had things that you were interested in that were different from theirs, but then it was okay when it turns out you actually did like things that they were also interested in. So it was finding common ground that generally saved that for you. You know, I probably would have been bullied because not only am I a geek / a nerd, I'm also small, and I was fortunate though that all of my friends were bigger than me. All of them. So like I didn't stand up, sit. Here we go. Let's look. Look. Now listen. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, I'm the one who jumps out if somebody says something smart to him.
All the time.
Usually, right? But you know,
I
like,
have stories.
I was able to kind of like deal and navigate those waters in high school anyway, because again, I had larger friends. My sister was very popular in school. She was a cheerleader, right? She knew all the football players, which meant by proxy, I know all the football players. You know what I mean? Like, so there wasn't a whole lot. There were moments for sure, and she wasn't always there. Like, she graduated before I did. She was an older sister, so she graduated before I did. And so she wasn't always there. But by the time I was probably 17, give or take, I was pretty comfortable with who I was and wasn't going to give that up for anyone or anything. Not always easy. But, again, I've always managed to surround myself with really good people who like the same things I like. So I was able to spend my time with them and not have to worry about being somewhere where I wouldn't necessarily be comfortable. At work, I am Spider-Man shirt, Spider-Man shoes, Spider-Man pins. Everybody knows it. And when there's a new trailer, people who don't care about Spider-Man are like, did you see the new trailer? I'm like, yeah, you know I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things now where as it's gotten a little easier. So, who grew up with Toonami? Look at the excitement, right? So, like, Toonami was like afterwards for me. So, if you grew up with Toonami, like, I feel like there are way more people who are aware and were aware of Dragon Ball, right? Really, in any anime. What else was introduced through?
Gundam.
Dragon Ball, Gundam, Sailor Moon, Big O, Yu Yu
Yu Yu
Hakusho,
Hakusho was big.
Rurouni Kenshin,
Inuyasha,
Tenchi Muyo.
Tension, yep. All of those things, those weren't things like, okay, I was grown when that happened. So, very different for me. When I got to high school, I was not allowed to still like Thundercats, He-Man. Wasn't okay. I did, but I wasn't okay, right? Did y'all see that Disney Plus is doing a new X-Men, like the X-Men 97 show, right? But there are people in here who have no idea what X-Men 92 actually is, right? That was high school for me. And that was not okay. And I almost didn't care. Almost.
Keyword.
Yeah. So, one of the things I think that helped me find a way to be comfortable was in recognizing other people's families. So, Sin and I both like anime. Sin likes anime way better than I like anime. There are things I'm just not willing to allow. It's not a...
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I I know you will enough.
Here, watch these 1,000 episodes.
We're not even talking about that in general. It's just the animation. Look, but it's in the animation and stuff like that. He's very particular about specific things.
Yeah, like I love animation. Right. Part of why I love it. Like my introduction to anime happened with this dude. Like we watched anime, you know what I mean, growing up. But like we were having to go find it. It wasn't on TV.
Oh no.
We had to go get it. We had to go buy it. We had to go rent it from Blockbuster, VHS.
About 6 of episodes recorded on somebody's
Yes.
TV, not even official ones.
Like it was like, yeah, it was very difficult. But here's the thing. A few years ago, I came to the realization that my love for Spider-Man, his love for anime, this dude's love for wrestling.
Still coming to terms with that one. It's a work in progress.
Listen, there was a time when I loved it too. I understand why you liked it, right? Is not different. When we come to something like this, right? For those of you who are in cosplay, again, raise your hands if you're cosplaying currently, right? Realistically, how is this different from the person who puts on their favorite player's jersey on Sunday to watch the game from home? They're not even going to the game. Right? Somebody else's name, somebody else's number, somebody else's team, because you don't make money. Like, they don't pay you to like them.
Sit on the couch, have your little snacks on deck.
Exactly.
It's painted probably too, sitting at home, watching them.
You have wrestling belts.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen you wrestle, but you have wrestling
But
belts.
I got them.
Have you wrestled? Did you wrestle?
Technically, yes, I did.
Yes.
Technically, yes, I did. There's footage of it.
Oh yeah.
I kind of got whooped. Nah, I got whooped.
Kinda.
He's like, I'll just watch y'all.
Hey, but I learned how to take a body slam. So hey,
Yeah, I remember that video.
and I took a steel chair.
I own it. You did take a steel
I
chair.
did take a steel chair.
That was pretty real. That was at a convention.
That was
That was at a convention. In front of a lot of people. You're a champ for that. Like, Ghostie, do you have a favorite team?
Sports team?
Any team?
Ooh.
Is it a swim team? Is it like is there a favorite team that you have?
You know, none comes to mind.
Doesn't matter to you, does it? Joe?
Back in high school in the 90s, it was the 90s Michael Jordan.
The
era.
Chicago Bulls. All day. Sure. But now,
Now, not really.
whatever, right? When I watch games on TV, which doesn't happen very often, because it's just not like I'm much more into boxing and MMA than I am into team sports. But when I see the guys that are so into it, have so much camaraderie, that they have decided in minus 20-degree weather to paint themselves green and put letters on them and scream and shout, like their love, their fandom, as outside as it is, isn't any different from us deciding we're going to dress the part because a new movie's coming out, right? So when a new Star Wars premiere happens and people show up as Jedi, Sith, and they're pretending they have powers, let's be real about that, because if that happens, that's not real different from a person who puts a jersey on and a helmet on because they're not playing football. That's not happening. You're pretending your fandom's not different from ours, technically, right? But they get to be called a buff, right? You get to be called a fan. In some cases, a fanatic, right? But we allow them to be looked at differently. And what you love isn't different from that, right? So I'm sure, Sin, you have stories of something you love that some other people in the group you're in is not their thing, right? But when you got introduced to the world that you love of anime, what kept you?
Anime in general, just the story, the animation, just everything I wasn't getting that I would see in normal cartoons. Like I remember sitting back and watching Robotech. I'm like, oh, this dude died. He's gonna be back next episode. No, they don't do that. Then he's dead. He's not dead. Like, they have to realize like, oh no, this is not the same as G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. It's like you don't even stay dead in live action soap opera. Like if $1 million on a soap opera, you're back. It's not real, right? Did y'all see like there's I don't even know. I saw the other day there's like a soap opera that's running right now. I don't remember which one it is. All My Children Days While I Was One Day. Somebody came back as a zombie.
Wait, like a
Like, nah. No. We're running things now. Listen, I don't know if y'all know this. Geeks and nerds run the world. We're in charge of everything, right? When we were growing up, part about what I think made it so hard for us to get along is because it was hard for the things that we like to be mainstream if they weren't cartoons, right? Anything else they attempted to do always fell flat. It was never good. Dragon Ball Z live action, anyone?
Trash.
Terrible.
It never happened.
Correct.
It never happened.
Oh, shut up.
But the difference now is that, like, those of us who actually grew up loving it are the ones in charge of making it, right? These are people who loved it, went to school, now they're directors, writers, they're the people who are pushing it, and so the love for it and it being done, I'm gonna quote this, right? With respect for the material, even if it's different. It's very different than it was when David Hasselhoff was Nick Fury. It's a bad run, y'all. It's a bad run. So I think now it should be a little easier to be comfortable if you're not. But I'm recognizing that that's not always the case, right? And so what we want to do is we want to find ways for people who aren't comfortable to get comfortable. To be able to be comfortable wherever you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are. Jokes, how did you get comfortable?
Over time, kind of like what you said, it's just finding those same like-minded people. And then I'm the type of person that, whether it's something that I personally like or I don't like, I like to experience those things. So someone else may have a fandom that I don't particularly like, but I'm open for you to talk to me about your said fandom. Sure. And in return, you know what? I'll talk to you about something that I like.
Right.
Like you talk about like our age difference. So like when I talk about Power Rangers.
Nope.
It's
no good, buddy.
It's one of those things that you know what you'll hear me out on it, but it's like
I respect that it's still on. I don't know why, but I respect that it's still on.
But you know what? It ties directly into like sin, like in anime.
Actually, hold on.
No.
Don't tell me you were Power Rangers.
Don't listen. Hold
You know where I'm going.
on. Hold on. Just real quick. Why does Power Rangers exist?
Because of Super Sentai.
And Super Sentai exists because?
He wants me to say this.
Say it.
Because of Japanese Spider-Man.
There it is. You have no Power Rangers without Spider-Man. I just want you to know that. Okay, continue.
But
that's why we're okay.
And because of Super Sentai, it's like that was also an introduction for me getting into like anime and stuff from Japan.
Sure.
Because of course, they Landover Mall. They used to have a little store in there that sold toys from everywhere.
Yeah.
And I saw Japanese Power Rangers toys. So, you know, I immediately was like, Mom, what is this? Because it's like, I was like, I don't understand any of this on the package here, but I know who that is.
Yeah.
So that was like the beginning of me, especially also coming into being like a tech person as a kid, starting to do research.
Yeah.
And started trying to learn about these things. So I learned Power Rangers came from Japan. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So
you had no idea Angel Grove wasn't a thing.
Oh, Angel Grove was in California or whatnot, but that was like those bridges started to be built in different ways, just from like the one fandom on there for it.
Is it, Joe, are you it seemed like you just kind of came to a realization, right? Of like you've been comfortable, right? So you are, but like.
So I think my journey is somewhat different from, say, a fan. I am, I guess, a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite anime. I don't have a favorite comic book. I don't have a favorite character. You know, there's Star Wars. That's my thing. If I have to have a favorite, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
But as a content creator, I'm like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I went to art school. I have, you know, when I basically talk shop is what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, oh, that anime, you know, whatever. What's out right now, which is totally dope. On Netflix, it's Arcane.
Arcane, yeah.
You guys watch that?
Arcane is
Arcane.
Arcane
If
is
you're not watching it, you should be watching it.
But I can tell you what, don't ask me any characters.
Oh,
Any
sure.
character name, any plot or whatever. I'm what amazes me is
The visual.
The vision. So growing up, you know, I did like, you know, cartoons and, you know, Cosplay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my path kind of, oh, how did they make this?
Yeah.
Oh, I can draw this.
Yeah.
Instead of, I am such a fan of it, I want to, you know, emulate it. I want to dress up like, you know, these characters and such. I want to know their backstory and whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where my geekiness
Did you ever,
diverted to.
like, so again, we grew up and went to school together. That's
I
a,
know,
that's
it's
a
a
real
third
solid moon night there, sir.
Hey.
That's a real solid moon night there, sir. We grew up together, right? And did you ever think that, because you've always been talented, always been a great artist, there were people who, like, maybe didn't care about comic books or X-Men, but might come to you and be like, hey, draw this.
All the
Right?
time.
Or like
It
people
still happens
who,
now. Yeah.
sure, like weren't into it or didn't care or whatever, but like because you could actually create it, and maybe there was a slightly different level of acceptance for you from somebody like me who didn't necessarily have that same kind of talent or kind of draw, right? Like we are all. Ghostiee, you play instruments?
Oh gosh, does it count if it was just elementary school?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. We are all band geeks. All band geeks. We all play instruments. We're all in the band. Like that's a thing for us. That's also another like knock against you. A lot of times, if you're in school, like, and you're in the band, you can't be cool. It's not a thing. They don't go together. You know, those things that, even for people like who have gone the professional route, gone to school, gone to college, right? You want to do things, even if you're as a content creator. Like, I remember having conversations with you after school. You got a degree in animation, but in your last year of school, there was pressure from like the professors as you're doing like your final projects because what you were drawing, they felt you could never make it
definitely.
doing that,
It
right?
was, so I graduated in '99, University of Arts in Philadelphia. This was like right before, you know, the computer animation really started, you know, being big. So it was still the draw, you know, 24 frames per second, shot into, so you draw for 1 second of animation, you draw 12 different drawings.
Right.
So that's what, you know, I was learning. And me and, you know what, yeah, me and the group, my group, into anime, and, you know, and Saturday morning cartoons and whatever. But the teachers, I guess they came from a different era. They kind of like looked down.
Yeah.
So they wanted the, you know, squatch and stretch and like all this, you know, just
Yeah.
stuff that we weren't into. Which thank goodness, like we did our own thing, but there was definitely that pressure as well.
Yeah, like the idea that like even within, from a content creator standpoint, like being in school, looking at what's being created, looking at what's out there, even as a creator, amongst other creators, what you were trying to do wasn't always okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, again, even in a place like this, you'll find people that do a cosplay and put their own spin on it, do it their own way. They don't necessarily try to do exactly what you saw in the comic book or exactly what you saw in the movie. They do it their own way. And in places like this, there tends to be a bit more freedom doing things like that, especially like if it's a mashup, right? Like somebody does, you know, an anime character, but they do it with an Iron Man aesthetic or something like that, right? You're like, oh, especially if you recognize both characters, right? But that's the kind of thing that tends to not be okay, even in circles that are professional, in some cases, you'll get pushback. So,
But just to circle it all back, for us that were in that position, we're in the position of like,
now,
that's what we're creating.
Correct.
So, yeah.
correct. Somebody had to take over.
Oh, full circle, yeah.
Yeah, and be that. So it's like sticking to your guns, continuing to love what you love, and not letting those people who kind of push down or push back against what it was you wanted to do, because they couldn't see it.
Right, right.
Keep you from doing what made you feel good and made you comfortable. Ghostie, let's talk about cosplay for a second.
Alright, let's do it.
For a lot of seconds.
Oh,
For a lot of
get ready.
seconds. Okay, what made you decide to start cosplaying?
Oh my gosh. So that dates back probably 8 or 9 years.
Right. You can remember that far.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, there's going to be a test at the end, so I'm trying to reiterate the information and everything so you guys pass. I just heard of Katsucon. I was like, wow, this is going to be so cool.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine and I crafted our first costumes and we went, and it was a game changer.
Yeah.
We were absolutely hooked. We were looking up the next events, we were looking up the next costumes, and it was a snowball after that.
What was the first costume?
Oh my gosh. Woo! So the skill has changed a lot from here.
Sure.
But my Kryptonite game was World of Warcraft for 8 or 9 years
Okay.
as well. And
Okay.
so it was Sylvanas Windrunner from World of Warcraft.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So for you,
Wifey for life.
what helped you do that was finding a place like this that already existed.
Yeah.
Like not knowing that it was a thing
Yeah.
and being able to go and see other people.
Walking in kind of blind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being like, oh,
Like,
well, this, you can do this.
I was like, wait, there are a lot of people doing this.
Yeah.
And nobody's saying it's weird,
Correct.
which is really exciting.
Yeah. To those of you who are uncomfortable, that have raised your hands and said you're uncomfortable, do you feel uncomfortable in places like this?
No.
No. This is home. You do.
A little bit.
Why?
So I'm completely deaf in my right ear. So like when it comes to like talking, and sometimes I don't hear what people are saying, and then they're like, "What is wrong with this guy?"
So it's not necessarily a fandom thing or whatever. It's another personal thing for you that has an effect on that. Anybody else have something? Again, we raised our hands like some of us have social anxiety, right? I don't. Never have. That's not even completely true. I just get over it because I enjoy talking to people, right? So like, before I gotta do something like this, always butterflies. I'm always a little nervous. There's always a little bit of sweat, and it's like, all right, well, let's go do it though, because I'm here with my people. I'm here with y'all. Let's knock it out. You know what I mean? Let's have a good time. But there's always a little bit like I think anybody who performs, you're like. It's almost like jumping out of an airplane. Like, I'm not jumping out of an airplane. Hey, any of y'all have that, like, I want to go skydiving thing? Is there anybody here who's like that? Have any of you done that?
Yeah.
You have. You can keep it. You can keep it. I'm not doing it. I love you for it. But I'm so glad you do it, so I don't have to. That's a real thing for me. When I watch Discovery Channel, there are places people go that I think are beautiful. I'm not going. I don't want to. Like, I think it's great that there are people who can stay in the jungle, butt naked. I have a good time. And afraid. Let me tell you
More
what,
power to you.
yeah, the afraid part, I'm not going.
Yeah, that's
Right.
cool. I'll watch it on the couch.
But please understand that there are people who do know about places like this that are afraid to come. They don't know that you all exist and that what they want to do is actually okay. Because it's not on TV. I mean, now it is. I guess they have there's like cosplay contests, kind of like I'm a maker and I do like, but it's always pushed to like a professional effects level kind of thing.
You gotta go on YouTube and actually search around and find clips and
Exactly.
stuff like this.
But it's changing so quickly. You know, like any sneakerheads? Anybody love shoes? Got one. I got another one. Right? A little bit of sneakerheads? A little bit? You? You should see the Vans this dude cross on. Let me tell you something. This man will take a blank pair of Vans and make it look like
I got some more?
the Bible. It's a real thing.
Will you draw your own names?
Yeah, that's.
Let me see it. Take it off. Let me see it. Let me see it.
Come on, man, that thing's sick.
These are actually pretty claws.
These were blank. I would pass your shoe around. I'm going with no. No, that's dope, right? Like everybody, like your canvas is different from Ghostie's canvas, right? Ghostie's canvas. She's wearing her canvas. You're wearing yours actually now too, but like, right? But that canvas is different. So those of you who are there any of you who feel more comfortable in cosplay than out of it?
Yeah.
For sure.
You do.
Why is that? Yeah.
Both I've never been like comfortable like just like regular clothes, like that's never been my thing.
No.
I'm not someone who can like pull off like I can't like style a regular outfit at all. But so I just feel more comfortable like but like an outfit I know looks good.
Yeah.
But because I've seen it like on TV.
And you do know you can see people in clothes that aren't cosplay on TV.
That's true, but
But it doesn't feel the same for you.
yeah.
It's the feeling. What about the rest of it? Who else raised their hand and said they're more comfortable in cosplay than out? How about yourself right here?
I guess I would say that like I don't know, it's like empowering and I don't know, it's like when people see you like in like a cosplay, they immediately associate you with like that show
Sure.
that character, and there's that sort of like instant camaraderie.
Yeah.
Versus like like when I'm just like dressed normally, sometimes I can feel kind of self-conscious about like oh like how do people perceive me versus like like when people see me and like my costume, they're like, oh my god, I love that. I don't know, it's like very empowering.
So there's a portion of it that is when you're dressed, when you're in cosplay, you feel like people perceive you the way you choose to be perceived.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're not in cosplay, you're not sure what that perception is going to be.
Yeah, especially because like with cosplay, people like come up to you and talk to you.
Yeah.
Versus like like most of the time people just look at you on the street, they don't like say anything.
Right. Unless you're wearing a shirt that matches their fandom. Or a hat that matches their fandom, and then they might.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about that? I know about that. You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing.
Makes it an interesting choice.
Yeah. Is there again for anybody else who feels that same way, or is there anybody who's different about it? Yes. I can't hear you, dear.
Makes you feel more comfortable because you know other people dress that way.
Yeah. You're not alone. You're not alone. I dig it. I'm a weirdo because I come to conventions in regular clothes. Just want you to know. I'm okay with that though, because this is. I think it's super important to understand that like nobody can tell you how to be a fan. Nobody can measure your level of fandom by how you dress or what you wear or even by what you know. Like we do it, but they really can't. So there are tons of people who know I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. It's through and through. There's no doubt about it. You can't see them, but I'm wearing Spider-Man socks. You thought I was gonna say wearing something else. I'm not. Spider-Man socks. Nobody can see them, but I'm good with it, right? And I get people though who know that I've loved Spider-Man my entire life, who assume there are Spider-Man costumes hanging in my closet at home. It's not a thing. I have tattoos. Don't do that.
Just say.
I have tattoos. I don't have a Spider-Man tattoo. I won't get a Spider-Man tattoo. That's just not how I choose to display my fandom. But I have hats and shirts and jackets and shoes and drawers. I mentioned them. I do, right? Because that's how I choose to display my fandom. I own comic books, but I have standees, posters, toys. It's all over the place. It's a sickness, but it's my sickness, right? I don't necessarily feel like, I don't think that somebody who chooses to come to a convention like this, dressed as Spider-Man, loves Spider-Man more than I do. They just also love Spider-Man. Does that make sense? Right? So, when I walk down the street with a Spider-Man hat on, and somebody goes, yo, that's a dope hat. I almost don't care if they like Spider-Man or not. I just care that they like that, right? Cool, thank you, appreciate it, right? Maybe that sparks a different conversation and it turns into, where'd you get that? I've never seen that. And I'm like, somebody gave this to me for free. I don't know where they got it. Sin, what's your favorite way to display your love of anime?
Wearing shirts, hats, paraphernalia, and I like specific stuff. Like I don't like to wear a shirt that just says One Piece. Like my favorite shirt is the one that says "To Be Continued." So
Right.
people who are walk around when they see it, and somebody
They know
recognizes
what
it,
it is.
ooh, you know what that logo means
Right.
when you see it.
Right.
And
Right.
how we've been tortured with that since 1999.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's a real thing. Joe, how do you choose to display your fandom?
Star Wars
Lego.
Legos.
That's it. It's not a walking down the street thing. It's not a whatever. It's a purchase and go home and build things
There you go.
kind of thing. Joe, you buy wrestling belts.
I have like title belts for wrestling, like anime. So like I'm a huge Gundam fan. Like Gundam is my #1 anime. So like I have model kits everywhere in the house. My girlfriend can attest to that, real big. So, and of course, and you know I've grown with it over the years. So you know I've gone from making like the small kits like that you can like walk in like Target used to, well they do now again that you can buy. But now I also have like perfect grade kits. So I have a job. So I can actually go out and actually buy these
Buy the
things
things
now.
that you want.
And so like back in the day, it was
Wait,
like,
congratulations on having a job.
yeah.
The way you said it was just like,
Hey, that was one of those things where your parents would be like, you know what, get a job and you can start buying those things yourself.
right.
And that's kind of what it actually ended up being. It was like,
Guess what?
I can buy these things myself.
I'll take you up on that.
Because like, if anyone's familiar with like Gundam model kits, like they have their perfect grade, which are like the biggest of the kits.
Expensive, yeah.
And like when I will never forget ages ago as a kid, I asked my mom, hey mom, can you get this for me? And it was like,
Nah, dog.
no.
Not
But you know, I'll never forget the day, you know, saving up the money to buy my first perfect grade kit. So from a Gundam Wing Zero Custom. So built this thing to the T, couldn't do the decals.
I'm only letting you talk about this because you're passionate about it. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you're not.
Like, I feel like I'm not going to talk about it. I love it. They're like,
But you know, built it. The only thing was I couldn't make the bad boy stand because of the wings. You know, it had the weight thing, and it was like. But as I'm getting older and doing these things, you know, I figured these type of things out. So you know what? Gotten better. Got a kit now. It's got the LED lights and stuff in it. So, you know, you got to go in. You got to do like the wiring and all this type of stuff.
you got to know some stuff.
You have to know some stuff to do that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Is there anybody here who hides their fandom when they're not here? You do. What's your fandom? What do you love? You're amongst friends. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter what it is.
Part of this fandom, it's a certain anime that I kind of like, and I want to be more part of it, but I don't necessarily now, so I tend to hide it from other people.
Do you?
Normal people think me different if I said what I was.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take a moment and correct you just for a second. Liking an anime that other people don't like doesn't make them normal people and you not. You're normal.
Yeah.
You're normal. Okay? We're all
You're fine.
right? Yeah. Like,
I know there's anime that Sin likes that necessarily that I won't watch, and then vice versa. Like it's a thing.
Like what?
he's like, I watch everything. He's like, I watch everything. Right.
I don't know. I'm sure there's something.
I may not have seen it yet, but
Right. But like, I'll never come at Sin for anything that he watches that I may not necessarily like. I respect him for it. The same way, like I'll talk to him about Power Rangers, but I know necessarily that's not his thing.
Not at all.
But he'll respect me for the fact that I like Power Rangers. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, I'm on the, I don't want to say I'm on the other side of things, but like I said, you know, I'm more the content creator. But how I see it is like we all have passion. We have that passion for whatever, you know, anime that you love. As a person, like I don't have any, you know, there's no one anime that I like. When I draw, I put something on, and if I catch it, whatever, it's just in the background. But your passion for it, I can totally appreciate because I can talk to you, and you probably wouldn't even care about what I draw on Clip Studio Paint, what brushes I use, you know, what poses, and you know what references I use to get all this. I can talk to you until I'm blue in the face, or you can talk to me until you're blue in the face. I can appreciate your passion. And the thing is, not everyone, and You know, they might call themselves normal or whatever, but I feel bad for folks out there that don't have a passion for
Correct.
anything.
Correct.
You know, not even sports or whatever. They just
Yeah.
go by their day.
Yeah.
So whatever passion you have, celebrate it.
Yeah.
You know, obviously things can, you know, people can go too far and whatever, but as long as it makes you happy, you're not hurting anybody,
Yeah.
and you're passionate about it, I think you can talk to other people who have passion about something else, but still have that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to find a circle that you can be confident in being who you are within that circle, including being able to comfortably make fun of each other. Because we do it to each other all the time, right?
That's very important.
It's
Be
a,
able to tell your friend their anime is trash.
exactly.
And then laugh about it after.
Exactly.
Very important.
You, because you do understand that you have a mutual respect for each other and for each other's passion, right? For finding somebody who likes what you like isn't always a thing. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. But finding somebody who does like anime might help that, like, that person maybe doesn't realize that there's this anime that you like that's really cool because they haven't heard of it, or they don't have access to it. They don't know where you got it from. Things are so locked. Like, even though there's so much access now, everything's locked behind a gate somewhere.
Yeah.
This stuff is only on Crunchyroll. This stuff is only on Hulu. This stuff is only on Netflix. This, right? So, like, what if touche. The fact that we so badly want to be accepted most of the time, right? Tends to lead us to, without knowing it a lot of times, do the same things to other people that they do to us. When I say that, what I'm specifically talking about is things like gatekeeping. I have been a gatekeeper for a long time about things I'm passionate about, not because I don't want other people there, but because I don't want other people to ruin it for me. It's so selfish, it's so self-centered, I'm working on it, I'm getting better at it, right? But that's a real thing. Most of the time, gatekeeping, as bad as it is, as bad as it can be, as negative as it tends to be, usually comes from a place of love and of passion. I just don't want a bunch of people to come in here and now it's watered down, right? M. Night Shyamalan, The Last Airbender. All water, right? Right? Wrong people, the wrong stuff, right? But you're trying to take something that's niche and make it for way more people. What you have to understand is that when something you love becomes that popular, in order for it to continue to be popular, continue to grow, and continue to exist, which is what we want, it has to change. That doesn't take away how you fell in love with it, what it was like when you liked it. You're always able to say, I was there when Spider-Man was the first Super Sentai and there were no Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still hold on to that and have that passion, right? And not be afraid of that. Listen, it's everywhere. I'm like that in music. I don't want people in my music because I don't want people to mess it up for me.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? But I get it, right? So, like, my youngest daughter, hey, stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. Come here. Turn around and wave to the people. This is my youngest daughter. Okay? You didn't wait. You got it. There you go. All right, so this is just, okay, stay with me for a second. Who likes K-pop? Okay. Are we BTSers? Okay, hold on, okay. What do you like? Say it loud. Stray Kids. She's a Stray Kid. There they are. Right? She don't want me in there. She plays with me. I'm not gonna mess it up. All I can do is listen to it, right? She's like, see, she thinks I'll mess it up. Sit down. Here's the thing. My oldest daughter, also huge K-pop fan. It's part of why she loves K-pop. K-pop's been a staple in my house since 2015, something like that. Like for a long time. I got a bias. We're not talking about who it is or what it is. We're not doing all that, right? But man, I understand the passion, right? And there are places you can go where nobody else gets it, but somebody else who's in there, right? Y'all want to keep me out. Like, she's trying to keep me out, right? She's like, why is this talking about stray kids? I don't want to talk about stray kids no more. I don't see. Like, right. It's coming from a place of passion.
Right.
That's not different from any other fandom, anything else that we love or we like, right? Star Wars is your thing. Not my thing. I like Star Wars. I don't love Star Wars. You love Star Wars. I don't. But I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Jedis are cool. I think, hold on. I think Jedis can be cool.
Okay.
I think old Jedis are not cool anymore. They were cool. They're not now. They're getting there.
Okay.
They're gonna get there. I think kids now, it's harder for them to like, if they've watched Luke Skywalker, dude is slow. He's slow. Like, they're like, I would beat Luke Skywalker in the sword fight, because he's slow. If you watch the newer stuff, now it's like Kung Fu flick. That's my, like, I love me some beat 'em up. So, I love that you don't try to gatekeep wrestling from me, but I don't want it. I don't want it. It's yours and you can have it. What are you protective of?
That's a good one thing about for wrestling. Like,
It doesn't have to be wrestling. I just want to.
Oh, just protective of
yeah,
overall?
like, what do you like? Other than your girl, other than the love of your life, other than that.
I guess I would say, I guess Power Rangers falls into that category. It's like, I would say, I still love it, even though I know the way that it's made now, it's not meant for me the way that it is now.
Sure.
I still love it for what it is.
Right.
I like Super Sentai a lot more now than I do Power Rangers, just because, it was aimed to be like in a little bit of an older audience, so I like it a lot more. But when I hear people talk, if I hear you talk trash about Power Rangers, I'm going to defend it to the T. Like, it doesn't matter if
We do it every week.
Hey,
We do it every week.
I'm gonna defend it to the T, no matter oldest series that's out or even current run that's on TV. I grew up with it. Like, I will always defend it because that was just one of those things that I absolutely loved growing up as a kid.
I think Ghostie. What are you protective of? What are you gatekeeping?
Oh god, okay. I was stopping practicing this one.
Oh,
Okay.
I've got it. My music. I feel like it's abstract, and I feel like
Oh yeah.
But I know it's kind of interesting because it got me thinking what I do and don't gatekeep, because I really heavily gatekeep my music. But I don't gatekeep like animes, which I like on like great games. Like, you have to try this. Like, take my copy, learn about it. But now I'm like, you like that?
Why is it? What's different about it?
I was trying to place that as well, but I don't think I can find the reason.
It's yours.
It's mine. Don't touch it. You know what I mean?
Do you not introduce people to it, even though you love it?
I introduce. Okay, so you know how you said you're working on yourself? I guess that I'm going to start working on myself, because when I know that somebody's in that inner circle of abstract music, I'm like, dude, you gotta check out what I found. Check this out, and you can vibe with it because you're in an inner circle. But when you see somebody from the outside trying to make their way in, you don't want it to
bring
get
that
watered down.
Get that trash out.
Yeah.
Are any of you gatekeeping? You are. What are you protective of?
So nobody I know really into it, but I would love, and I'm so interested in the Marvel Daredevil series.
Yeah?
So,
Just you.
Just me.
But you don't want anybody else in there.
No.
You like it that way.
Like one of my friends who has like bad opinions. I'm like, no, you get away.
Oh, you got a friend with bad opinions. We might need to rethink that. That might be the issue there. Is the friend with bad opinions. Where's that friend now?
Home.
Okay, I was hoping you were going to say, right right here.
I'm not bringing them here.
Then, yeah. Is there a reason why that person didn't make it to this? Bad opinions.
And bad opinion.
There it is. Okay. Now we're figuring out who your circle actually should be. Who else is gatekeeping? You are. What are you gatekeeping? Yeah. Oh, you're both. Are you gatekeeping things from each other?
So it's in specific things. It's kind of a K-pop, mostly because when it comes time to buy concert tickets, and
you don't want other people getting tickets before you? You don't want other people getting tickets before you?
Yes, but I
That's
also
fair.
know people at this concert where I'm like, woo, 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 all the words, and they're sitting there on their phone. I was
Got it.
Okay.
Hold on, okay. So hold on.
Not even paying attention.
This is watering down the experience. Yeah. Okay. It's the experience.
Yeah.
I can feel the passion. You seem real upset right now.
I can totally
She
make that.
can keep that out for me.
Yeah, like, yeah, she's been waiting for a place so she can say that out loud. Welcome. Okay. I dig that. I get that. Yes, sir.
I'm a gatekeeper of when like comic book movies take liberties.
Sure.
A bit sometimes, like with spoiler alert, Black Widow Taskmaster.
Sure. Sure. You don't like that, or you're okay with it? You hate it.
I don't like it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
Follow the comic books a little bit.
So, again, those of us who are gatekeeping, again, gatekeeping tends to be seen as extremely negative. And a lot of times it is because of the way we gatekeep, right? But we should recognize that it does come from a place of passion. Like, you're pretty passionate. Like, pretty passionate. You're passionate about what you like, and not having somebody who you know talk bad about something you love. You're protecting yourself.
I will not work on myself.
Okay. It comes with time. Yeah, she's like, I am who I am. And I'm gonna tell you something. Telling me now you're not gonna work on yourself tells me you're more comfortable than you might even realize. You know, like that's a real thing. And that's what we're here for, right? So I gatekeep all kinds of stuff, but nobody knows it. It doesn't mean I don't want you in. It just means I'm not telling you. If you find it, cool. If you don't, it's mine. It's mine. I know you're like that, Sam. Don't smile. I know you're smiling over there because I know you got stuff.
All right, my biggest, I don't gatekeep anime. I want people to come in and see this art form that I love so much.
Right.
Now, once you're in, maybe some doors I'll keep closed to see how you react to anime.
You come in the house, you can't go in all these rooms.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look around a little bit. If I feel you,
You're like one of those parents. Listen, when you come in here, don't touch nothing.
Right. Take the shoes off the door.
Yeah.
Don't touch nothing. Once I know you be trusted around the house, okay, now you start going to some other things and looking around.
Okay, got it. I dig that. I respect that. You know, look, I'm not telling you to gatekeep. What I will say, what you want to say? What you got? Are you gatekeeping something?
I was, but I got tired, so I forced them to hold my hand. Okay, so back to the gatekeeping thing.
Yeah.
Anime that I gatekeep from a friend that also has bad opinions.
Oh.
We all have this. I do too. That person, this friend that we have has such bad opinions. I'm sorry.
Can I tell you?
I need to know.
So here's the thing.
I need to know.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'll tell you. Friends with bad opinions. Bad opinion is a special thing because sometimes it's just different. And whether an opinion is bad or not tends to mostly be about how it's expressed, not what it is. Okay? So when somebody says to you, your anime's trash, but then they don't laugh about it afterwards, having that, being able to sit down with a friend and actually say, well, I like it because of this, this, and this, and then say, well, I don't like it because of this, this, and this, right? So how we gatekeep, how we express our opinions, right, and whether or not that opinion is bad or not, mostly is in how it gets expressed. So maybe work on how you express your opinion so that it's not necessarily viewed as bad, but it's viewed as different. Because that's the only way you can actually have a discussion about anything. Otherwise, it's just an argument. That's what you're avoiding, right? Yes?
The person with bad opinion is a bad person.
Then stay away.
Yeah.
So that's different. That's different. Right? A person with a bad opinion who is a bad person probably has bad opinions because they're a bad person.
Yeah.
what's important to know is that if you know someone who's a bad person, disassociate. You know, like that's, there are some people you can save, some people you can't. Recognize that no matter what, it's not your job to do it. That's just, right? So, I know you've kept things from me. So I'm gonna put you on the spot right now and make you tell me something you didn't tell me, because everybody's watching.
But at least his face.
First, only that's part of my mind is the fact that he was late, but I already told you about that.
Yeah, you did.
That was what?
Snitch on that.
Yo, I was like,
That's the last thing.
Here's the thing. We have extremely differing opinions. Extremely differing opinions. We're the best of friends. It's okay that he loves wrestling and I don't love it. I don't want to watch it. I won't even say I like it or don't like it. I just don't care, right? What I care about is that it's important to him, that it's special to him, that it matters to him, that he spent his money on belts.
He got a job. He can buy
He
your
got
house.
it. He can buy a house. Not for me to be concerned about.
hey,
Right?
if I say Ric Flair,
Woo!
That's
All
a
day,
different
every
story.
day, dog. That's my guy. That's my guy. So, Joe, as a creator, right? Okay. Some people are chiming in. Johnson got some questions. Okay.
one is actually for you too.
Well, ask that. Ask him that question. What's somebody who's watching live
This
says?
from Mama. This from Mama doing down here.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Second one. Okay.
It's like, first of all, hello. As a parent, knowing how geeks can be treated, is there anything that you are doing to strengthen your children's comfort level with accepting who they are?
No, so that's easy for my kids. So I have two small kids. I have a 7-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I watch like the stuff that they like to watch, the cartoons and stuff. I'll watch it with them. Like my parents never did that.
Yeah.
Really. You know, they didn't watch the Saturday morning cartoons. I'll watch it with them.
Yeah.
Whatever cartoons they watch. My wife likes to say that I force them to watch the stuff. The cartoons that I like and the movies that I like. Not indoctrinating my kids, I promise you. But they do. Like my son, he likes Star Wars.
Yeah.
He likes Lego Star Wars just like me. Just an interest, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's easier for me. You know, my parents, they're old school. They didn't grow up with that. So
Yeah.
relating that kind of stuff with me was hard for them.
Yeah.
But with me, it's just a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I can tell them about background stuff. Like, oh, this is how they made this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is, this character was from, derived from this character kind of thing. So just an interest,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Just even just an interest, just watching them.
Just try to stay on that path. And
Yeah,
the things you're interested in are also important to you. I think that. Look, we only have like 5 minutes left before this is supposed to be over. So, does anybody in the audience have questions for us at all, in any way, whatever it is? Yes.
You have Instagram?
Yes. Loading snacks.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Honestly,
And Twitch.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep. Loading snacks, just like it sounds. It's really strange. But loading snacks, that's us. Anybody else have questions for us? You're welcome.
I got one more and then we'll chime in.
Okay, go for it.
This is from Dennis.
Okay.
If you weren't comfortable being yourself after high school, what is your advice to teens and preteens for getting to that point before adulthood?
If you weren't comfortable before you got out of high school,
So after, yeah, you talk after high school. So what is the advice for?
my advice is never assume you're the only person who likes the thing you like. Never. There's always somebody out there. That doesn't mean they're at your school. That doesn't mean they're in your class. But you do have to do sometimes some legwork to find those people. Trust me, they exist. They're here now. Not necessarily in this room. They're collecting. They're shopping. They're watching. So one is don't assume you're alone. 2 is actively look for other people who actually like what you like. I know that's scary sometimes because putting yourself out there, admitting you like something other people don't like. Remember that sometimes what they tell you about the thing you like is just a bad opinion, meaning that it's worded incorrectly, right? You don't have to take that to heart because even though you like it, you agree.
And also to add on that, I would say using social media properly.
Yeah.
There's plenty of groups out there, anime groups, wrestling groups,
Yep.
gaming groups that are positive groups that you can join in front of people that are passionate about the exact same thing you are. We have a couple of groups ourselves on Facebook for that exact reason.
Yep. We have a Loading Snacks anime chat. Come in here and talk about whatever anime you want. We have a Loading Snacks wrestling chat. I don't go in there, but that's his spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it.
Any content creators, like artists?
Any artists, content creators, bro? Okay, we got a few. Out here.
I mean, you can take it with whatever. Yeah, just one of the biggest of my most of my gigs came from like just social media, just put myself out there, and I like talk to people and sometimes like, oh yeah, I draw too. Like, what's your Instagram? Or we'll have not. Just
Gotta
put
get
it
it
up there.
Yeah.
Who cares how many followers you have or whatever?
Yeah.
Just put it out there, even just as an outlet.
I'm sorry. J. Robert Deans just jumped in the chat.
I'm gonna shake my head.
It's for you, by the way.
Okay. Go ahead, Nancy. What is it?
G, are you comfortable enough to prove that you have Spider-Man drawings?
Yes. Yes. But I'm not wearing them, so it won't help. I'm not wearing them, so it won't help. But yes, we talked about that already.
Any other day, yes.
Yeah. Any other day?
Spicy
Tomorrow?
Different story.
Here's what I want to do. I want to say thank you to everybody who came. I want to say thank you to everybody who participated. Obviously, you all deserve it. For those of you who, at the beginning of this, raised your hand when I said, do you have social anxiety? And by the end of it, you were raising your hand and answering questions and talking to people. I am proud of you. I am proud of you. It's a big deal. You did it here. You can do it elsewhere. This isn't the only spot. Listen.
Is it the onesie?
It is the one.
I was
Spider-Man.
But it's not. It doesn't. It is a
You gotta
Spider-Man
have that.
one.
You gonna have that for Christmas.
I'm not. I'm wearing it. It's a picture of me. I'm wearing it.
It's a new one.
Oh, no.
Just add to the collection.
So yes, thank you all for coming and hanging out with us. I need you guys to know a couple of things. One, both of these kind folks who have come up here to spend some time with us, both Ghostiee and Jose, have tables downstairs. Please go visit their tables. They had to come up here for 90 minutes and be away from their tables so they could do this with us. We greatly appreciate you all for coming out. They're both awesome individuals. What's your table number? 1014. To visit Jose, who again is working on the new Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer comic book from Boom Studios. He has a bunch of awesome artwork in his table. Go check him out. Ghostie, who has when we left her table, they were playing Smash Brothers there.
What else do you do at the convention?
I mean, you sell artwork. Like, she's got really, really awesome photos and pictures of herself in different cosplay. You are both awesome individuals. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here. What's your booth number?
Oh, B107 with a lot of the other cosplayers.
B107. It's like that far right side, that far right wall. So please go and patronize their tables, go see them, hang out with them. They both also have social media, Instagram and so forth. So please follow them. A lot of you in here are content creators or cosplayers and makers. Don't be afraid to converse with one another and share that information with each other, right? Yes? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. Okay. Yeah, share that information with each other. Build your own background. You're meeting people here who love the same things you love. So again, building a social circle that have people that like the same things you like can be a really, really strong safety net, right? You gotta be careful what you do on the internet and with social media. But generally speaking here, you're safe. Don't go meet people. But it's okay to hit the heart button to like, you know what I'm saying? So please do that. Use your hashtags safely. I am Gage, representing Loading Snacks. This is Jokes. Jose and Ghostie, that's Sin. K on the ones and twos. We call for the cameras. Who also does do all our music. That is an incredible dude right there.
Shout out to holding the camera for
Straight up. Straight up. You will see us milling around. We'll be shooting interviews with people and stuff like that down on the floor. Don't be afraid to say hi. If you have questions you didn't want to ask here, you can do that. Say with us. Okay? Thank y'all. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, can we take a big selfie? Can we all get everybody to just form one big group and take a selfie?
Yeah.
Y'all just kind of squeeze in a little bit here.
How do we do this?
He got the long arms. Yeah, like right around here, y'all just bring it in. Vicky, you can be in the picture. You know that, right? All the way in the back. You can be in this picture if you want to. Yeah, we're looking right there. Hey, he's got the longest arms, so he takes the picture. Take it in. On three, being comfortable being a geek. 1, 2, 3. Being comfortable being a geek. All y'all in front of us now. Oh man, what's up, man? How are you, man? Good to see you, man. What's going on? I hear you, man.
I feel like I'm in line.
I know that. What up? Come here.
Did you recognize me?
Yes, come here.
I know, I'm okay.
Oh, I guess you're right.
You gotta talk about Street Kid.
Gee.
That's my.
Not the cancel.
Katsuko. I guess I need to get on.
That's about like 4 days. You can wait a day. You know what I mean? Like, well, so we put in for it. We had to put on for it. Yeah, that's good.